coach, and the Pumitas. So this is a side with a lot of stars. Weisberg, look at him, one of the top point scorers in this competition. We might be seeing him playing for the senior team soon. Vaca and Nunes, the front row, really dangerous. Gomez, Varez, Moro, and Bilbo Sola together, all just a dominant loose forward. And Dalgi on the 11, an outside winger, really good. And Fientes and Pusane all work together. And off the bench, they've got a lot of players, but Blanguetti, Toth, and Ruiz bring a lot of physicality, as does Grenon. And the Argentinians are resting some of their players, most notably Villalba, who's on the bench. The Uruguayan side, almost unchanged for their opening match against the Junior Springboks. I would say look out for Bamule on wing. He was playing fullback, but he can certainly be good with the boot. Alonso, very physical player. Gomez Platero has been impressing. And amongst the forwards, I must say, Dio, the 8th man, the captain, really put up his hand. And the Uruguayan's not afraid to throw the ball around. And have a look at Sere, number 20, when he comes off the bench. He made a big impact in his last appearance. And now, as the World Union plays and the rain pours, the players come onto the field. We did a longer introduction to our viewers who are Afrikaans and Xhosa, but once again, it's Anton Taylor, and we'll just net say welcome and Nababukele Amaxhosa Molweni, and to our Spanish international viewers, I'm just going to say bienvenido. That's about where I'm at. And I was told after my last rendition of Afrikaans, I sounded like the Afrikaans Stephen Hawking, but we're working on it. And these two sides, a lot of passion, and as we heard in the interview, he said this is a semi-final, and the Uruguayan coach certainly look for the passion. That's exactly what we're talking about. And I'll tell you, I don't think there could be a country in which passion is more welcomed than the Republic of South Africa. And in a setting that would be fit for a movie, in deep mud, hard rain and cold conditions, two South American teams full to the brim with passion take each other on. Pumitas, a man who will be in charge with officiating today's match. Game begun, the kick didn't go. 10.
Well, almost looked like a move from the training pitch. About just half a meter short there. Chased it very well. Did Aito Bidosola.
Okay. You're gonna be slow, ne? Take it slow and set up a little bit higher, ne? Slow. Yeah. Okay. Right, let's go. Catch. Bind. Set.
Uruguay wrapped up. Wrapped up.
Use it.
Into the tackle, Lucas Bianchi.
Use it, 9. More fast, yeah? More fast.
Argentinians doing their best to hold it up.
More fast. More fast.
Well, you can tell by that support, the roar coming game between the two neighboring countries, same colors. Game between the two neighboring countries, same colors, same style, similar languages.
Coach. Bind. Set.
So as we see this battle in the mud between these two sides, we can hear the screaming on either side of us from their benches. And this is an area where we will see a lot of battles being made. The point very well executed, the work of the 8th man, Moro. Oh, his soccer skills were on display there. Charging in now.
No.
Bidosola.
That's infringement, he's just diving. Let's go back for the penalty.
And, you know, I just must say it is a festival, a season of rugby. The British and Irish Lions are going to be playing this weekend on Friday. The Springboks will be playing Georgia in a repeat of the under-20 match earlier today. And there is a lot to look forward to. Big news from the British and Irish Lions camp is that the captain, Alwyn Jones, has been ruled out after their match against Japan. But in the next month is really going to be gripped by the Lions tour, and a lot to look forward to. And then later on, this team that we are watching, the Rugby Championship, Argentina, will be coming to South Africa in August. So there is a lot to look forward to, and really just wonderful that we are seeing rugby being played at the youth level, and we will see it continue to be played on a senior level. And all things go to plan, we'll be even seeing the Craven Week later on in the year. But for now, it's all about what's happening on the field. My colleague, who I may have forgotten to introduce and certainly should have been doing the other languages, Faj Mtunzi Mabeta. And what do you make of this opening stanza of the game?
Yeah, look, it should be a huge battle. If that scrum has anything to go by, you can bet on it. The mauls also, we saw in the game earlier, it'll be important to see who can last. Very tough, energy sapping a game like this. Asks a lot of the tight five. This is fantastic from the Uruguayans.
And every time there's an error, you can hear screaming from... We're sandwiched between the two benches, and the way in which these young men are getting going, you wonder if we might have to separate them.
Look at that line speed, going in for the double hit very well. Toma Echeverri.
What is the issue?
But from both sides, what a great contest we saw in the last scrum. Paul Menti handling things very well.
Coach! Bind! Don't engage. Wait, ne? Wait for the call. Time off.
Buenas noches, Héctor. Vamos, presión, metele presión. Primera. Abajo. Dos. Segunda. Afuera. Segunda. Segunda.
Time back on.
So a lot of enthusiasm and excitement in the rain in these opening 5 minutes.
Bind!
And short arm awarded. Well, we mentioned the Lions' incoming tour. They're going to be opening up in Johannesburg Ellis Park, and they'll be familiar with the different conditions of South Africa. Cape Town really the only province in which and cold when they play. Right now it is wet and cold when they play. Right now it is wet and cold. A fine chase and a fine take from Inesi Alvarez. And both these teams coming out firing. Alvarez. Palms it off. Now some patience from the Uruguayans. Santiago Alvarez puts in a fine kick, it skids. And Weisberg, who is the top point scorer of the competition, to put it into perspective, he's on 48 points. And Kanan Moody in second is on 20 points. Worth mentioning that reserve hooker Bautista Bernasconi is also in tied second on 20 points. He'll be perhaps coming off the bench for the Argentinians.
Yep, Moody did well to score a brace in both of the games leading up to today. On that, the junior Springboks have scored 14 tries now after playing. On that, the junior Springboks have scored 14 tries now after playing 3 games. This is the Pumitas' 3rd game. And Weisberg, this playmaking, controlling the game with his boot, has definitely been...
He's a player to watch, and his maturity
been critical for them.
Has been superb. With advantage, ripped out. Gila. You can see the physical difference between the Argentinians and the Uruguayans. Wow! Uruguay standing up to the challenge. In that case, it was the captain, Carlos Diaz. Moro.
Use it. Advantage offside. 7 offside. Still last week.
Argentina as Ramon Duggan knocks it up. And Argentina have riders off the boot up. And Argentina have riders off the bootstraps, but they've got a good mixture of mashing it up between the forwards and then firing it out wide.
Scrum is the core.
So They choose to go for the scrum. They seem to have a very collective, controlled shove. Stability just wasn't there, giving away the free kick to Uruguay a little earlier. Got a nicely sized short side.
Really needs some watch that blind side. Really needs some watch that blind side.
Bind!
Justo Ricardo standing as an imposing figure.
Ball is out.
The ball was spat out. Uruguay quick to seize upon it, and Argentina weren't able to set up that set piece as they may have planned. No matter how it goes. Meters made.
Ball is out.
And Matteo Albanese be looking to make a mark today. See if he can knock out Vilabra off the perch, but penalty for the Uruguayans.
Here's a mark.
The Pumitas just needed to slow it down. So some really good work being done by Juan Cruz Corso, getting involved, getting numbers to the ruck to make sure they can recycle it.
Very good take from Inaki Delgi. I mentioned he's been dangerous. He's got 10 points to his name with a brace of tries. He featured in the under-18 tournament 2019. Argentina building up. Argentina building up. And they'll be looking. Oh, monster hits. Believe Ignacio Rua responsible for that.
They're marshalling that channel.
No.
Baja, gotta ask you. In these in these conditions, well, that is the hit. And that, yeah, Rua put it in. In these conditions, do these studs, do boots matter? You've played in every condition under the sun, slipping and sliding, you know.
Bind!
Do they need to adapt and wear different boots?
Yeah, look, 100%. Some locks hate playing with longer studs, but in these conditions, the props will tell you, get on those longer studs, even if it's uncomfortable running around with them. Very important.
And if I just to continue, so those longer studs.
Use it.
What's the
gives you a better grip.
Better grip. The cons, slow you down, heavier.
Heavier, slows you down. Some players will feel like it hurts them, maybe not as comfortable, definitely without a doubt. But when it comes to scrum time and maul time, huge asset.
Step back.
That's the benefit of having a man who's played in every condition available, every team. Fajum Tunzi Mabera, the bomb goes up. It's fielded by Pisani. Sells a filthy dummy. Carries on going. And just to make it even better, knocks back the Mule. The Argentinians queuing up. You can see the imposing figure. But once again, the Uruguayan spirit. It's the second time in a few minutes in which a monstrous hit has forced the turnover. Now the chase coming up. Fuentes. And wow, that is a massive result for the Uruguayans. And it came about. And it's going to continue to go because of the soccer skills. Well, that's why they would make it so far in the World Cup. Uruguay out of nowhere. Pure passion with a bit of soccer skills to boot. And it all started with that hit.
100% right against their try line. Putting in the big hits, putting in double hits. Very good technique shown as well. And in the end, Santiago Alvarez finishes off in the corner. Great vision shown by Alvarez himself. That's what makes the try. Good awareness from him. A very good chase as well. You can see the communication, good pressure. And here comes Alvarez to finish off what he started.
Oh!
The wicked bounce of the rugby ball. Never stop chasing. Ah,
That
brilliant.
exquisite.
What a start for the underdogs.
And you know, although it might seem as if it's a sort of a joke to the, you know, the, or you might call it football, soccer in Uruguay, we saw against South Africa that they really did have a good control of the kicking. They were able to often, you know, with big up and unders, return fire. And now we see off the tee. It's a tough kick. Bamule.
Just a little too flat.
Penalty kicks, not Uruguay's.
Yeah, on that note, good foot skills, good kicking skills, Uruguayans and Argentinians, South Americans in general. But Juan Hernandez and Felipe Contempomi, Argentinian number 10 and inside center.
Two teams meet in the mud 30 meters out. Uruguay immediately set their intentions for the pod. Crash ball. Santiago Alvarez, the man who made the try. And you know, it wasn't only his awareness and his skills, it was the perseverance to follow up. This time uses his boot.
Fine.
And that is straight up.
Ignacio
Here's a mark.
Alvarez
5. Here's a mark.
finds touch.
Open up. Open up.
Going for a short line out here, maybe setting it up to play. Brilliant steal.
Robbed, burgled. And the Uruguayans, we were talking about the discipline, how well drilled the Ignacio Alvarez. Ignacio Alvarez puts it down the throat of Ramon Fuentes. He's got some space. But Mueller put his body on the line. And it's going to be a throw-in for the Uruguayans. And that try was so good. I think we've got to see it again. Look at the skills. Eat your heart out, Euro 2020.
Right on the touchline.
Boom.
Come guys, let's go.
Finish it. Yep, two
Okay,
vital
let's go.
kicks.
Come in.
Finishes off what he started in the corner. Brilliant play from Santiago, or rather Mateo Albanese. Sorry, it is Santiago Alvarez, the Uruguayan scrummy.
And that ball was about 5 centimeters away from the dead ball line.
Wait, here, two,
The
stop.
man who kicked it
No, thank you.
executed himself, acquitted himself
One, stop.
brilliantly in his placing. To wait for him to land before the tackle was made. To wait for him to land before the tackle was made.
Tackle! Tackle!
Alvarez
Use
again, you
9.
can see he's eyeing that left boot.
No, 2.
Sends it
Get out.
very high upwards.
Backwards, play on. Backwards, play on.
Argentina now, there's an overlap if they can get it out. Charge it up straight. They can, second time I said, if they can get it out. And now it has the opportunity, but well, what they're doing was working. By the time they did get it out, the Uruguayan defense had restored itself. However, a huge result for Argentina from the kick.
They've got options, no?
Scrum,
Options.
10 meters
They've
out.
got options.
Yeah, the Pumitas, they just need to hold on to the ball a little bit longer. Not a bad kick,
Captain,
but
blue.
well marshaled by the back three of Uruguay.
Line out or scrum?
Very good play from
scrum?
Sebastian Platero.
Scrum is the call.
Still under pressure though in their 22. Uruguay have absorbed the pressure coming from the Pumitas very well. They'll be looking to find a clean exit now. Pumitas definitely in search for a tight head.
And
Bind!
both these... Wait for the scrum, yeah.
And there it is,
Number 2.
Uruguay under pressure.
Scrum.
You are right to wait.
Yeah.
Anton, it is spot on.
One thing I've learned, never talk over a scrum.
Nothing in it, especially in these weather conditions. We spoke about how important it is to have longer studs. You can see it's a little bit muddy out there. Both sides have backs. Backs.
Bind! Engaging. Going in
Early engage from the Uruguayans. Ignacio Rua, Matteo Bertini. We're asking the locks to hold on to them,
where's the captain?
hold them back.
Superb take. The maul set. Uruguay thus far withstanding. This is the Pumitas area of expertise. Yeah, they've got the penalty now from the forced collapse.
Collapsing at number 8. 8. On the line. On the line.
So the big captain
Scrum. Scrum is the call.
for Uruguay, Carlos Jose.
Albanese was begging for the scrum.
Then come here. No, you can't collapse them all. I'm saying on the scrum, don't pre-engage. Keep the gap. Don't pre-engage. Let's go.
Just to explain, this is the cause of the penalty, but to give some insight into the rivalry between these two nations. Rivalries in the world, it has been marred by new rivalries in the world. It has been marred by numerous controversial incidents, and it was the first game of football ever played outside the United Kingdom in 1906. So a massive rivalry between these two teams as the scrum off goes on the darting run. Matteo Albanese brought down short.
At least 12.
But with that knowledge of the foresight between these two nations, that's what this is about. This is more than just a rugby. Geronimo Gomez Vara. Mud all over his Geronimo Gomez Vara. Mud all over his face. Breaks his way through.
I guess his first try of the match, Vara. They just kept knocking on the door, but Uruguayan discipline, letting them down. Strong work. They had a scrum. It was their scrum. They needed to get a clean exit, but the Argentinians dominated that. Got a penalty, went for the maul. Got another penalty. And through their patience, got over through Vara.
And that's 50 up. Ramiro Weisberg, by far the top point scorer of the competition, takes his tally to the half century.
Not one of the standout players, but this front row of the Pumitas looking to dominate nice and early. Good play from Albanese. The number 9 to get it close enough. And Vara too close to stop. Great strength.
Bit of a nutmeg. However, Pisani recovers, puts the boot, but Uruguay, as we can hear from the bench, a good opportunity now.
Yeah, that's exactly what they would have hoped for. They've gained 40 meters almost, and let's say 30 meters almost with that kick, with that kickoff and that clearance from the Argentinians. Good opportunity for Uruguay now to strike right back after conceding.
The front.
Ball.
Thomas Echeverri in a backwardly mobile Uruguayan maul. Sees Alvarez force it out. Jean-Manuel Alonso was very prominent and dominant against South Africa. His hair a bit blonder than in the team photo. He received a yellow card in that game against South Africa, but nonetheless made his mark. Fudge, you impressed with the Uruguay? Oh, they spill it as I say that,
Okay,
but
knock on advantage.
can you tell a difference? Is there a difference between the two? Would you say one side's more drilled than the other? Is it would be fair to say?
Advantage.
And Uruguay unfortunately just haven't had any ball in. And Uruguay unfortunately just haven't had any ball in the Argentina half. 85% territory for the Pumitas so far in this game. And you can see Uruguay just want to hold on to the ball now, get through the phases, apply some pressure on the Pumitas.
And well, firstly, first matter of business is just to make sure that Santiago Alvarez
The other player also has a realistic catch.
okay, he's holding his neck, and then we might have a look at the incident that led to it.
Santiago Alvarez gets up and high nice and early. Puts his body on the line. We've seen a lot of that. Georgian side game before this against the Junior Springboks. What a first half we had. And you can see just by the intensity that both these sides are playing at on defense and attack. Huge. So difficult to play in these conditions.
Catch out the ball, so it's going to be a penalty against you.
And we had been saying about and this is a beauty of this tournament. You know, rivalries which many people in South Africa, rugby communities may not know about. These, of course, two South American sides. The derby I was mentioning earlier between them in football, it's the most played derby in football history. There's been 194 matches between them. Argentina winning 89, Uruguay 59. But so what we're watching right now, and when we see these emotions, there's an added level to it. I know I said it before, but it just adds that layer and this beauty of this tournament. And of course, when we talk about the future of rugby, we're not only talking about the future of South African under-20 rugby, we're talking about where Uruguay may be in 4 years' time, 8 years' time, and World Cups to come.
Yeah, look, definitely a lot of these players would have played in the SA Under-18 Invitational against Ndamac, who's already represented the French senior side. So for sure, you know, it's all about development and the beginning of a journey that will last a long time for some of these players.
No, stay out, stay out.
The captain,
Stay out.
Carlos Diu.
Yeah, it's fine now, you can go.
Gutierrez. Cheekily looking, now goes on a run. Puts out that hand, but Moro does his best to shake him off. And fantastic tackle dished out by Buldosola on the captain. And the Argentinians are saying, yeah, we can also put in our physicality.
Akin Moro does well just to hold on.
Let's go, guys.
Akin Moro does well just to hold on.
Let's go, guys. Let's go.
Good setup. Look at that. Great technique in the tackle. Lower, Low body position, plants the shoulder, wraps the arms, drives the legs, drives him backwards. 2 handling errors for Uruguay, but in the green zone.
Let's go. Coach! Bind! No, number 9. Keep quiet, please. Let's go. Time off.
Pumitas must give credit to him. The South American sides, I've noticed, particularly the Uruguayans, quite vocal towards the referees.
Let's go.
And in this tournament, and then really the refs have handled themselves very well. And reminded them that this is rugby.
Coach! Bind! Sit!
Well,
Advantage.
initially it was like a statue, and then this bunch. Now, is it called a second push? Is that the term? Yeah,
That's
I'm
it,
learning from my
that's
brother.
it, Anton. A second shove. Great patience shown by the front row, communication coming from the back, and then that collective shove, secondary shove. So difficult to defend against that, and you can see Uruguay have got their hands full.
Let's look at the defense coming up early. Here's the mark, guys. Open up, Uruguay.
Great opportunity for the Uruguayans to visit the opponent's 22 and unable to capitalize again.
Over the top it goes, so Uruguay given a blessing. Heads down. Corso flies back, but credit to the center for putting in the hit on the prop. Massive contest and really well done by Matteo Albanese, the scrum half. Got well off the air. The mud.
Knock on. That's the knock on. Yeah, knock on.
Well, it's quite scrappy out there. Very difficult to tell, which way the pendulum of momentum is swinging. A little bit stop-start, but here's a look at that secondary shove. Patience shown at the back of the scrum is very good. Great collective work from the pack.
Let's go.
Look how much meets them. Also, look at the size of, in that case, Mateo Nunes Misere.
I've already seen 7 scrums.
Set! Set! Going in early again.
There's that early shove again. And Ignacio Rua, Matteo Bertini. Need to speak to their hooker, Gutierrez.
So you don't wait for the
the
whole
lock.
set. You go in early. Speak to your team and let's fix it.
And there's Paul Menti again sharing some wisdom to the players. Going before the set.
Bulleted to the front, comes with a hand. Not adjudged to have gone forward. Excuse me. Advantage to Argentina. With the knowledge that they have advantage, the kick comes in from Albanese. It's a high one. Mark called, and we'll probably go back. Yep.
Yeah, a little bit rushed from Matteo Albanese. Just needed to communicate to his wingers, get that chase on. Not a bad idea, but they did have an advantage for a penalty. Maybe keep ball in hand rather.
Weisberg is safe. A player who's not going to ask for the Argentinians to receive it. Sends it to Bamula. And Albanese. Again, earlier, the aerial battle, he got up into the air. This time, he timed the tackle perfectly. Bianchi.
Use it, 9.
Oh, there is. That was Toma Echeverri, the lock. That was Toma Echeverri, the lock. But you can correct me, was it? He was up.
He's been brilliant, the number 5 lock for Uruguay. He's been everywhere.
What a chase from...
Wait here.
Forward and, well... To see the rivalry. To see the rivalry.
It's muddy out there. Trench warfare. We spoke about the rivalry between these two sides, neighbors.
And one actually, you have the thought, I hope it stays an even game, because if, well, here's the, I think, a very brave attempt, and that, yeah, he might have some ice packs on the ribs. But one hopes the game stays even, because if it runs away with, one team starts to run away with it, considering the emotions that we can feel literally rolling off the benches around us onto the commentator's booth.
Yep, you don't want things to boil over, Anton, for sure. 8 scrums already. This can also add to the frustration. It's been difficult for Uruguay. They need to sort out their timing and engaging before the set.
Coach! Bind! Set!
Well, again,
Advantage.
the second shove. And Joaquim Moro
Use it,
a
9.
few extra meters. Now kick bit advantage. And Moro, he's down, I hope, tying his shoelaces. Yep.
That looks just like that. And you know, Anton, you mentioned the second sub, but it takes a lot of work for the front 3 to keep that pressure on, to keep in a good body position, so when that pressure from the back does come through, they're in a straight line with their backs and it goes through and transfers straight onto the opposition. Uruguay struggling to keep the pressure up front and make sure that they get tight and push through their hips to try and counter that secondary shove. Right now, not finding any answers to the Pumitas' traditional scrum dominance.
There's a mark.
But you know, we touched upon this earlier.
On me.
But the beauty of this tournament is that many of these players, I think, we'll see in the 2023, you know, are often looking for young talent. So you're a star from either side, Uruguay, and what an honor it is to be able to say, we call them now. The Argentinians and their under-20 team, very well drilled. They've been together since, you know, early age group levels. And in 2 years' time, yeah, many of them will be knocking their doors on the Rugby World Cup. And I see that coaching, we see that level of discipline, if they can maintain it.
No, you're milking it, you've got the ball, play on.
For Menti, MVP, really a vastly experienced referee. And breaking through. So, players out on the right for Argentina. Pick and drive, however, thus far, serving them. They are the kind of team that can suddenly just fire it out wide, but for now, they're going to try to take on that Uruguayan spirit. Held up.
Advantage offside.
With advantage.
Offside.
So we might see something adventurous now. Inside, stunning inside pass, Pisani.
I'm going to send him. That's cynical number 8. You are in the bin. I'm going to send him. That's cynical number 8. You are in the bin.
No, that's a hard one. The captain, Fudge.
No way.
Yeah, look,
you are the captain now.
He's trying to lead from the front. It is trench warfare. There's some dark arts at ruck time, at maul time, at scrum time as well. So, penalty count, unfortunately, now for Uruguay. Heading to 9, just 1 away from 10.
I rewarded you.
In this first half, just 2.5 minutes left for the first half. A critical moment of the game. They are man down now, and with the Pumitas dominating at scrum time, we might be seeing a penalty try here now coming up.
Well, this is, we talk about the mini battles. This here,
Bind.
this scrum, these next 2 minutes are going to be 2 of the hardest minutes of Uruguayan under-20 rugby.
Number 2 going in.
And
Scrum
glad
again.
you predicted it.
Number 2.
Pushing for the penalty try.
Now, captain, come here. Where's number 9? 9. Come.
Just unfortunate. Santiago Alvarez unable to take it.
Okay, he's done it now in more than one scrum. He's pre-engaging in every scrum. The hooker, yes, now him, number 2. So he's in a warning as well. If he does it again, then I'm going to send him.
So the pressure mounts.
It all started from that knock on
Yeah, keep the
from
game.
Santiago Alvarez. They've just been camping down in the Uruguayan 22.
Talk about all the world's pressure stacked upon them.
Coach!
Geronimo Gutierrez,
Bind!
the hooker for Uruguay, will cost his team a 2-man deficit. He cannot pull through on this scrum. Argentina applying pressure, marching over. There it is, there it is.
There it is. Look what
Tunzi
it
Fudge
means to them.
Babeta. You called it. You predicted it.
Yeah, you can see they've targeted that area. Legendary scrummer Ledesma. Some of the youngsters won't know him. Played hooker for Argentina and has been doing a lot of work with them. Senior side, I'm sure some of that is transcending down to the Pumitas front rowers as well. Really, really impressive dominance at scrum time. It's great just to keep going. Number 8 showing very good patience. Just to keep going. Number 8 showing very good patience. Joaquin Moro at the back. You can see they're in their faces. They're celebrating those small moments. They know, look, this game is going to be tight. I'm not so sure in these conditions. It's a little bit.
Well, one positive that the Uruguayans can take from that last scrum penalty try is that they didn't concede a yellow to the hooker Geronimo Gutierrez, which was a massive concern for them. Although he's going to have to now, Fudge, I'd imagine you've been in the engine room. It's going to be on his mind for the next 40 minutes if he stays on the field.
Oh, and they'll know that's the last thing they needed. Ignacio Alvarez.
And you want to talk about the last thing they need is for a try to come with this.
Yeah, that really wouldn't be a fair indication of what we've seen on the pitch. They'll feel a little bit hard done by. But the Pumitas have found a weak spot.
Yeah.
And they're putting everything into it.
So now again, it's that pressure. It's that 7-man scrum. Huge focus on the hooker for Uruguay. Geronimo Gutierrez. In the mud. Well, there we see it again, every single time. As my colleague has told me, it's called a second shove with advantage. Sliding through. Now, quick service. Charging is Picardo. Almost mistook him for a prop forward. So again, Gomez Vara, the captain. Change of direction from the scrum off. Sees it going out. And
hard rugby.
Hard rugby. Drawing the man. Hard rugby. And spirit. And spirit. You can have precision. You can have being well drilled in strength. But it's hard to beat passion. And the Uruguayans forcing the turnover, making sure there's no of the game. At halftime, the Pumitas of the game. At halftime, the Pumitas from Argentina lead Uruguay under 20 14 points to 5, 2 tries to 1. It's the Clásico del Rio de la Plata rugby version, as the under 20 Uruguayans take on the under 20 Argentinians known as the Pumitas. It's the second half when Stellenbosch Paul Menti whistle taken by Joaquin Moro. Whistle taken by Joaquin Moro of Argentina. And the first half, if you're just joining us, was a battle of passion, emotion, which was just contained. And we'll have to see how long that can continue as a bomb is sent up. A lot of kicking. The Uruguayans certainly showing their soccer wares in this match. But errors, unsurprisingly, do come from time to time. I've been impressed by both the games today. Earlier we saw the Junior Springboks defeat Georgia under 20, and I think there was far cleaner rugby than one might expect, considering
really muddy out there, very difficult to sidestep or to get the ball out wide. Really muddy out there, very difficult to sidestep or to get the ball out wide.
Bind. Set.
So we spoke a lot towards the end of the second half about the pressure that the Argentinians have been applying and will be applying, as we can see, on the Uruguayans. My colleague Fudge, an expert in the area, will talk about what the Uruguayans can do, and if they do implement anything against those scrums. But we're going to go back and Fudge, I mean, if this is going to happen every single scrum, what do you do?
Yeah, look, you could see earlier on in the first half, they tried to have an early engage, almost defeat them to that set, and then try to get a little bit of momentum to put them off that secondary shove that's coming through from them. But they're just not holding the pressure, that initial pressure coming from the Pumitas. They hold on to that pressure. As soon as they see the Uruguayan front row give a little bit, that's when the secondary shove comes through. So difficult to stop, but they just need to get timing and a little bit tighter as well. Just give it everything at scrum time. It's not working for them.
Moro. Well, slips about 4 tacklers. Gets up. Carries on going. A homing missile towards the try line. Prop forward with the score, with the hands rather. Almost led to the score. And this time, just short. Uruguayan, brave defense, but you were never going to stop those forwards, and the Argentinians just bullying their way over, and the big men just breaking the wall.
Yep, look at them jogging back quickly, increasing the tempo of the game now. Aitor Bildosola.
Yeah, Bildosola, and he's been a physical presence throughout the match.
Yeah, he definitely has, and taking from that first game, taking anything from that first game we saw, the Junior Springboks versus Patter, a lot more chirping, celebrating the small moments. Patter, a lot more chirping, celebrating the small moments. And Argentina doing that really well. This is the man that got them over the advantage line. He's on the 22 there. Let's go of the ball, gets up. Very smart play from the big number 8, Joaquin Moro.
Nature, you can see the try scorer, Bildosola. Nature, you can see the try scorer, Bildosola, waiting for it, calling for it. And he had a wing to beat, but well, wing combined with Santiago Alvarez, scrum off star for Uruguay.
Yeah, Bautista Basso just getting his head on the wrong side there. No power.
Ignacio Alvarez, a deep restart. And one of the men who we were mentioning, Joaquin Moro, opportunity to run. Strong and brave defense on him. And now we see the other loose forwards. This time Jean-Martin David from Uruguay with the tackle. Albanese, mentioned in the first half, he'll have a point to prove as Vilabla, the starting scrum half for Argentina, has been performing well. Alvarez with a grabber that grinds to a halt in the mud. Takes contact. Takes contact. Wow. And that was Tomat Echeverri. No surprises. Putting his hand up for one of the standout man of the match performances from Uruguay, I would say. Their best players.
Play.
Clearance comes in from Ignacio Alvarez, but taken quickly. The Argentinians keen to run. It's a risky kick, but it pays off. Vindicated was Pisani. And the kicking comes again. I'll ask Fudge after this if that's an area they're going for, but Inaki Delgi.
Roll away. 11.
Anton, both sides, and I was going to say it might just come down to Anton, both sides, and I was going to say it might just come down to who executes and chases and reacts on defense as well to the loose kicks. We will see 1 or 2 loose kicks. The conditions are making sure of that, but that's the best ball to counter-attack from are the loose kicks. So whoever can react to that the best, I think will have a huge advantage going into the last 35 minutes of this game.
Cool. Don't worry.
Got a feeling Ramiro Weisberg and Pisani at the back. Pumitas have got the right horses for courses.
The Uruguayan line-out, which has been better, now intercepted and charging like bulls. Argentina building up ahead of steam, and bearing in mind that should they win this, they will play South Africa in the final match of the series. There will be many South African eyes on their performance now.
Nope,
they're just chipping away at the Uruguayan scoreline, using those big men. A boot flies up into there, or was it a divot of soil? Loose forwards again. I think it was Gomez Vara. It's almost starting to become indistinguishable. The players picked up the man who scored a try earlier, Bildosola. Push back now, flung out wide. Corso shoots it up. Change of direction. Good awareness and intelligence from the Argentinians. They're bashing it up and then they're throwing it out wide. The dummy and the try. That is exactly the IQ that we were talking about. And Mateo Albanese adds 5.
Controlled the game really well. The little number 9, hasn't he? Been communicative. Just getting his forwards over that line. Just making sure he's getting in there. Getting his hands dirty at ruck time and passing the ball to his big forwards, running forward. Great reaction speed as well from that line out. Taken untidily from the top. Good take forward from the forwards. They kept bashing it up. And he knew sooner or later they'll fall for that dummy. IQ is right, Anton. Great play from the number 9.
Weisberg, unsurprisingly, has no problem with it. Adds 2 to his already increasing tally. So he started at 48, and his conversions now be taking that to 54, but this is a try, and I think that Matteo Albanese has been quite impressive.
Place. Great try from Albanese. Place. Great try from Albanese.
Yeah, play.
I laugh at the dirt on the players, and you can see that's a tough drop kick to make. I mean, look at that condition. Very hard to get a bounce off that.
Use it.
I think it was a intentional play, that a nice little trick play.
No, that's fine. That's fine. There's nothing wrong there. He was committed. You're fine. You're fine. Nothing wrong.
Once again, the joy of being with a man who knows and loves rugby as much as Fudge Mabeta. And in that case, quite intelligent play from the Uruguayans. Thomas Bamwula mentioned that he had started off against the junior Springboks at 15. It's also quite handy with the boot. And now, it's that opportunity that we've been talking about for the Uruguayans. Thus far, their only try has come as a bit of a runaway one. Can they do it, Fudge, perhaps on a more structured set piece?
Yeah, well, they're desperate. They're desperate to keep ball in hand. The Pumitas are dominating. In the first half, they had 68% for Uruguay. For Uruguay.
Unfortunately, that set piece, and you're just not going to stop. Is that who I think it is? Is that him?
Bernasconi.
Bernasconi's come onto the field. The mythical player, the second highest point scorer in this tournament. He's been coming off the bench.
Yeah, I don't believe it's him just yet.
Okay,
very difficult
sorry, I'm
to
getting
tell.
a bit like the Loch Ness Monster. You're unsure. I just saw a clean jersey.
It's very difficult to tell who's on your team, who's not on your team. You're just looking. It's very difficult to tell who's on your team, who's not on your team. You're just looking whether or not you're with ball in hand and getting over the advantage line.
And as someone who looks, that is a sandwich tackle.
Yeah, you can see.
That is a sandwich tackle.
Yeah, you can see players diving, putting their bodies on the line. Uruguay fighting to stay in this game.
10. Yeah.
So it's Jokwan
Advantage 17.
Miska, who's come on for Uruguay at hooker. Now they're trying their hand at the maul. That man, Miska. Fudge, what happened there?
17, tackling a supporter.
Oh, Menti just... Poor Menti.
Well, we saw that has been a problem, taking out the supporter instead of sacking the ball carrier, and also sacking him once his feet have touched the ground immediately.
Don't tackle a supporter in the
You're not allowed to have a secondary sack, and Paul Menti just explaining to Vara that you're not allowed to sack the supporter anymore.
Scott finds his man, so they have a mulligan. They try again. Doing well to steer it in. Goes down, Miska. No one was holding him. So Uruguay have almost completely committed to this ruck. About 2 players out, they've got advantage. So perhaps it's working. Look, what a shot.
11 players in a 5-meter radius.
Last feet.
Now, queuing out, firing it to the right. It's going to be an aerial battle won by the Uruguayans. And it's a try for Ignacio Alvarez.
Exceptional communication. Good awareness from the Pumitas winger who stayed out wide, but Ignacio Alvarez supporting the Uruguayan, getting up in the air and contesting for the ball. You see that communication. Alonso gets out.
Awareness. Fudgy on the money. The try scorer. Fudgy on the money. The try scorer Alvarez, but the tap back by, was it Thomas Bommel at the number 11?
Yep.
Yeah, the man taking the kick. And of course, the kick from Gomez Platero. Looking up, seeing that over.
He'll be happy with that, an important 2 points. He'll be happy with that, an important 2 points. Just to add the extras to some really, really exceptional play in some very tough conditions.
Come this side.
And in the silence as we waited for Alvarez to, Bommel rather, to take the kick, you could hear the rain upon corrugated iron above us. If you were to write a sports movie, I think they'd say, no, we don't need this much mud. It doesn't normally happen like this. But it does. Welcome to Stellenbosch. Welcome to Cape Town. Welcome to South Africa. The home of rugby, the home of the Lions tour, starting in a few days. And of course, Argentina will be playing in South Africa in August in the Rugby Championship. Uruguay, who knows where they'll be in a couple of years' time. Certainly a team with an eye to move up in the World Rugby rankings, along with Georgia.
Yeah, without a doubt, Anton. Great development being done in the lower ranks, the juniors. Fanan Kleko spoke about that briefly. And they gave the junior Springboks quite a tough time.
And credit to these countries. You know, many countries are sort of afraid of South Africa not playing us in sports, and real gratitude from South Africa and South African sporting fans, all those involved in sport, to these countries playing with us. And there can be no competition without cooperation.
No, 100%.
Absolute joy to have them in our country.
Yep, great for our development, great for theirs.
Bind! Sit! Ball out.
Oh, the muddy conditions, see it being ferreted by Matteo Albanese. Real shrug off there. We saw hints of that momentum that the Argentinians have, but the mud just proving too much as it now goes into the team that started off in the lighter shade of blue. Now, perhaps a lighter shade of mud, and you can hear Paul Menti. Well, in our ears, the mic cam is
Subs, guys. 3-1-10.
audio is picking up
3-1-10 subs.
Boots, and look at those beautiful turquoise jerseys.
Yep, bright, sticking out for sure.
Come here, guys. Here's a map.
Hard work at the office, probably one of the hardest he'll have in a long time. Matteo Perini, Ertini, Ignacio Rua also comes off. I think tactically that's a sound decision. It's been tough for them in the front row, but they've stuck in there, they've gave it their all.
Coach! Bind! Sit!
Good scrum from the Uruguayans. The captain
Tackle! Tackle!
didn't make it through the advantage line, but did
Knee on
get
the floor.
a penalty.
Number 4, Argentina sub.
Now this
Number
was
4.
the try.
All right. Uruguay,
Take a
number
look at
7. Sub. Number 7.
Yeah, just
Very good defense
7
from
subs.
Pisani to stay out there, identify the players out wide, but fantastic
All right.
hit
Askis,
from
come again.
fantastic touch just to get up
All
in
right.
there and
No,
tap
okay,
it
thank
back. to the supporting player.
But surely there must be a deep understanding between the players for something like that to happen, or can it be attributed to just the brilliance of Bamule? Or
okay, breakaway, use it.
Split-second communication, awareness. You wanted decision makers in the right positions. You saw the scrum off making the decision, passing it to the fly-off. Platero executed a kick beautifully. And of course, the outside backs also knew exactly what they were trying to do. Get up, tap it back. I've got a support player there. Well execution.
And Alvarez was trusting Bamule that he was going to tap it down to him, that he could execute what is an incredibly difficult thing to do.
If the ball is not in front.
Now, as the scrum's about to set, Fudge, were you pointing to the teeth, the fangs on the boots of the Argentinian players earlier, the front row forward?
Yeah, well, I'm just showing you exactly how long those studs have to be in conditions like this, especially in the mud.
I'll wait for the scrum before I describe them.
Bind!
Buena. Control, Nico.
Set!
Buenísimo, Nico. Control.
Another one.
Oh, look, it was much better from Uruguay there. Low body position. They met that initial pressure coming from the front row. They really met it with some pressure as well, but not stable enough from the Uruguayans. Thought power-wise, they got it right. Just stability, losing a little bit of that. So the Pumitas' dominance at scrum time continues. And there have been quite a few of those in this game. 15 scrums we've seen.
There's a mark. Yeah, just keep moving.
Javier Angel
Adjust.
Coronel. You can see the imposing figure of the prop at the back. Comes with the fingertips.
Off the
I think it was knee, yep. Pumitas agrees. And once again, the scrummy Albanese does well. Goes on the run, puts in the kick, it's quickly returned. Potential for a mark, which is taken.
Mark called. No. There. Where you call the mark. Can't play it forward. Where you call the mark. Let's go, play. Play.
Pisano being forced to play. That wasn't a language barrier thing.
No language barrier there.
That wasn't a language barrier thing.
No language barrier there. It seemed like he was just confused, not getting a direct call from his captain.
You've been subbed.
And Paul Menti not taking any of that, allowing Uruguay the advantage for time wasting. And we'll see the subs keep rolling in. Oh, he's been so busy.
Let's go, guys. Fine.
This is where it was. He was being forced. He did a little dummy, having been told explicitly to play. And Paul Menti said, that's enough.
And it's good pressure from Augustine Dono.
Coach!
And the player exiting that Fudge just mentioned,
Bind!
covered in mud, is
Set!
a warrior, Lucas Bianchi. And now the captain, who is playing as his fellow loose forward, Carlos Dios, is still on the field, bashing it up. And
No.
You know exactly what happened.
No.
Young
Boys,
men with
keep
a
the
lot
game
of passion.
clean. Keep the game clean.
Young
Boys,
men with
keep
a
the
lot
game
of passion.
clean. Keep the game clean. Keep the game clean. Let's go. So let's start with the scrum. Knock on.
Primera. Dos. Afuera. Segunda. Vamos. Control ahí.
Let's go. Coach!
Coco, no las patías.
Penalties conceded.
Bind!
I tell you, a fair amount have been in the scrum.
Control, Nico.
Set!
Vamos ahora. No.
And another one. That takes it to 13.
It's going down.
But, you know, they've shown communication, reaction speed to each other. But, you know, they've shown communication, reaction speed to each other. But you just can't play if you're going to give away penalties at every single scrum. And it's costing them right now. They need to put together some sort of an emergency plan here.
Well, if it just offers me opportunity, well, I'll wait for the line out. But when we get back to,
No,
it's a good take from Duggan. And we must really just give a word of thanks to Paul Roos Gymnasium for hosting this game, because the field is going to require a bit of work. And it has been worked on. It was in beautiful condition. A knock-on gifted to Argentina. It's a hard line for the new to the field, Javier Gareze. And Paul Menti increasingly having to tell the players to tone it down.
Well, you can't blame him for needing a little bit of an adjust in mood. Very different on the bench and the sidelines to what's happening on the pitch.
Yeah, well, I must say I'm rather relieved that President, we'll see, this is the knock-on. I'm relieved that the President shut down all establishments for one reason, namely that these two teams won't be meeting in a bar in Stellenbosch this evening, because there is no love lost between the benches, and we're right in the middle of it. There's yet another dominant scrum from Argentina. Will we see that arm go up? The advantage called.
Yeah, we've got to start wondering when the referee will call uncontested scrums, perhaps. But Uruguay have no answers to the questions at scrum time.
Fudge, you spoke about an emergency plan. What does that entail?
Look, the power coming from the Pumitas, the collective sort of shove, the timing, very difficult to defend against that. Even if you hold tight and squeeze and try to absorb the pressure, that secondary shove is just going to cause you to go backwards. So very difficult. You have to just give it your all. Focus on the timing and give everything to the scrum. Make sure that everyone, all 8 players, are giving everything and supporting the 2 props and hooker in the front.
And with that bit of composed play, and the kick comes in, Delgi fields it perfectly. A rolling pass back is fielded. Advantage again.
No arms tackle.
No arms tackle. Low grass cutter on Gomez Vara, the captain.
Number 8 offside.
There are players outside. Another advantage. We might see. There are players outside. Another advantage. We might see a warning coming in.
Number 4, release. Release.
But I just want to throw it on you quickly. You said the ref might be time to... Oh, no, let's just see what Paul Menti has to say.
Where's the captain? Captain. Okay, this offside, not releasing. Just a couple of penalties against you. Please fix it. Discipline, eh? All right. Here. Number 4, not releasing. Scrum. Okay, scrum.
But you spoke about the possibility of the ref calling the non-contested tries. Can you... Does he have the ability to do that?
No, look, if the competition,
Thank you.
the right techniques, well then you award that. That's rugby.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The right techniques, well then you award that. That's rugby for you, you know.
Yeah.
Look, the conditions aren't helping at all. Aren't helping Uruguay's cause at all. But it does make it very difficult.
And if I'm correct, that is so. And if I'm correct, that is so hard to see the players in the mud. But I think it's Matteo Albanese who exits. One of 3 changes. A superb game. You see some of the new.
Yep.
It's been turned over by Javier.
Yep.
It's been turned over by Javier Garez. And Uruguay now
No hands.
showing their grit. Burst through does the captain, Carlos Diaz. He has not rested, not bowed down once this entire game. And to be fair, neither have the Uruguayans. Been struggling in the scrums, but that I don't believe is in any way representation of their spirit. It's just Time to read it. Puts in the stabbing little kick. Time to read it. Puts in the stabbing little kick. Bounces off in the mud. The Uruguayans are up to it. None other than Santiago Alvarez, one of the standout players for Uruguay. Fields it. It's a crash ball. Uruguay struggled at times to look for plans, to look for things to do. So now they slow it down.
Use 9.
And we very well will see that boot that has been so well used by Alvarez. This time he gives it to a dangerous, very dangerous Delgi, who thanks to a tackle and the characteristic enthusiasm of the Uruguayans forces a turnover, and it was almost something on with the overlap, but I think we can blame that on the mud. Let's look at the hit.
Yeah, they're keen to play now, tired of kicking it back and forth. Hit coming in on Inaki Delgi.
Let's go. Fine, guys. Let's go.
Ignacio Alvarez, try scorer for Uruguay. And handling errors 9 and 8, nothing separating the two sides really.
Come, let's go, guys.
Uruguay have had 3 turnovers to the 1. They've started to have a little bit more of the ball as well.
Coach!
Another just.
That's a knock on by number.
Another just.
That's a knock on by number 8.
Desolation, destruction, demolition.
But they aren't giving up, are
No, never.
they? You know, their heads might be down, but that's because it's so sapping energy-wise, playing in games like this, especially for the heavy guys, having to keep folding around, making the hits, hit after hit.
And Fudge, this is when you start thinking about depth. You know, Argentina were here, you know, if we look at that dismantling, Argentina were here in 2018. It's a well-drilled side. They are they do have more depth than Uruguay. They've got a loaded bench, so not only do they have a strong starting forward pack, but they've got some monsters to bring off the bench.
No. Standing, another one.
Fresh monsters.
Yep. No, definitely, and you can see, you know, the pressure just doesn't keep. It just keeps coming.
Yeah.
Anton, you'd think that after some players leave the pitch, maybe it'll change. Maybe they'll need to settle, but the tempo's right up there. Guys coming off the bench are coming on and adding more of a tempo to that. The try scorer, Ignacio Alvarez, comes off the pitch. He was really good for Uruguay. And Uruguay seemed like they might have started to figure something out here at scrum time. That was one of the better scrums.
Well, one hopes for them as an objective. I'd say almost any rugby observer, you know, if these young men can pull it together, what a lesson that'll be, Fudge. You were talking about emergency plans. They can
bind.
Let's not preempt anything.
Yeah, especially in these conditions. Tough. Oh, and you see,
just too hard, and now just running on, so physical. The inside center, Corso gets it out, can't stop, won't stop. Bautista Renon bullies his way over.
Yeah, what a head of steam. Bautista Grenon. It's good from him, and take a look at that, still jogging back. This is how they wanted to play against Uruguay. Keep the tempo high. And although Uruguay has kept to that, just steps off of his left, difficult in these conditions. What a offload. Keeps going, doesn't give up, keeps pumping the legs. Good high knees shown. Great try for Argentina. Bautista Grenon.
And you can see the emotions from both sides. And just 6 minutes left. And Paul Menti has done a sterling job at assisting these players in the scrums, but also containing the emotions. So once again, in the silence, we hear the rain on the corrugated iron roof of Mokota Stadium. What a time to be alive. In the rain, he chips it over.
Lovely action to watch. And Uruguay, they did so well to absorb the pressure, but if it was in any other conditions, I'm sure they would have held on there. But no matter how long your studs are, they're always going to be going back if you're just putting them in this kind of mud. To stop that force.
It's allowed to bounce. Bilabla. See, that's the soccer skills we're talking about. And that is Fausto Silva. He's not a winger. Although you may have thought it from that run. But that skill set with the boot is, yeah, I think we can officially say that the Uruguayan side is the best soccer ball in, what would you say? Booting team in under 20 international series.
Use it, 9.
And under instruction for Labla. Comes with a hand. Moro.
Bandage over now.
Messi. And, okay, well.
Villalba. So 2 sides to attack from now for Uruguay, but they still need to win back their scrum ball. They'll probably be looking now through their scrummy Santiago Alvarez just to maybe be patient, maybe hold on a little bit before he puts it in.
This could be a great... As strange as for Uruguay, if they can pull up the scrum.
Yeah, well, he decides to put it in quickly. Yeah. Works well.
Very well. The captain gives it off. The kick doesn't go as they would have hoped, but I think what's lovely is that they managed to make a plan and worked with the scrum.
I know that's a very well executed scrum under what must have been very
enormous
difficult
pressure,
yeah, to handle, and quick hook, get it back. They get it back. They had some numbers out wide. They choose to go for the chip over. Unable to execute the Uruguay.
The try scorer, Grenon, was the one who plucked it from the air. And now patiently, the Argentinians, famed across the world.
Bandage collapsing the ball.
Their forwards.
Penalty
A good advantage for Labla with awareness of this. Puts in the kick. There is a chase.
Collapsing them all. Collapsing them all.
In the rain, tapped back by the Uruguayans. Back and forth through the hands, however it was called backwards. Dived upon by Javier Garez. He's been busy since he came to the field. He's made an impact. But no players, or few players for the Uruguayans have made such an impact as that man, Santiago Alvarez. Him and his namesake, Ignacio Alvarez, the only try scorers for the Uruguayans. And Bamule, who resembles the scrum half because of his long hair, puts in the kick and forces a knock-on.
Knock-on offside.
Yeah, the guys with the mullets, they seem to have been performing well, haven't they? Palmer has been busy, shown some really good skill.
I'd say it's a great day for those who have mullets, or like myself, used to have mullets. Vindication.
They've done well. Palmer and Alvarez.
Sorry to interrupt. The mud.
Let's go, Chance,
and one thinks about cleaning the ball in the pouring rain. It is at least mud free.
Never mind the face and the eyes. He's a hard man.
Imagine the combi taking them home. The state it'll be in. Goes, ends up in Argentinian hands, turns around in the mud. What an image. Trench warfare. However, this time we're not in the fields of Flanders, but rather in the beautiful winelands of Stellenbosch. And in the middle of the mud, Paul Menti calls an end to a brilliant battle of Latin passion and a celebration of the future of rugby. Spirited display from Uruguay, but ultimately Argentina just too strong and too drilled. Mtunzi Fajmabeda, your closing thoughts?
Yeah, no, look, brilliant. What the epitome of what the sport is about. This is why I love this sport. Just fantastic from both sides. They gave everything, but it's too much quality coming from the Pumitas. They dominated at scrum time. They dominated with the kicking game, and in the end, 5 tries to the 2 of Uruguay. 35 points, Pumitas. 12 points, Uruguay under 20.